All opinions expressed in this video are my own. I was not paid by the FireBoard company to make this video. All devices shown were purchased on the FireBoard website for full retail.
I'm Dave, and this is Austin Eats. If you own a Kamado Joe or a Big Green Egg or really any kind of smoker and you're serious about being able to cook low and slow, whether it's baby back ribs or a pork shoulder or even a brisket, you really need to invest in some sort of a temperature control device. Before I did, I struggled trying to create those dishes. I was always out here fiddling with the vents trying to get the temperature to come up or go back down, and invariably I would ruin the dinner. I either would take something off and it would be raw inside because the fire died, or worse, I had a flare up and I dried out the dinner. After ruining quite a few meals, I decided to invest and research the temperature control devices. I've owned a boatload of these things. I've got a bucket of them in my garage. A few years ago, I settled on the FireBoard device. The FireBoard is a very simple little device about the size of a deck of cards that I use to control the ambient temperature inside my Kamado Joe and monitor the temperature of whatever it is that I'm cooking. I settled on this after trying 4 or 5 other devices. I recently upgraded to the FireBoard 2. Not because the original FireBoard doesn't work, it still works just fine. I just wanted a bigger screen. I'm going to tell you what I like about this device, what I don't like, and specifically how I use it and why that's so crucial to the kind of cooking that I do. FireBoard actually makes 3 different models. I'm going to tell you what the differences are and why I selected the one that I did. I chose the FireBoard 2 Drive. And the reason that I chose that model over the FireBoard 2 is that it comes equipped with a special port to drive the fan. My point of view is if I can't control the temperature inside my Kamado Joe, then there's no point in using this device. That means it has to be able to control the fan. If you buy the base model, you actually have to purchase an additional cable adapter that allows it to communicate with the fan and drive the fan speed. The fan installs in the bottom vent of your Kamado Joe or Big Green Egg. When the FireBoard determines that the temperature has fallen below your target ambient temperature, it will turn on the fan. It'll actually throttle the fan up and down anywhere from 1 to 100% to maintain the temperature that you've dialed in. In the original FireBoard, I had to use the special cable adapter. The problem with that is I also had to use a second power supply in order to power the fan. It's one more set of wires, and in fact you just don't need it. So why go to all of that hassle and trouble and just buy the FireBoard 2 Drive? It makes it a lot simpler. There are several things that I really like about the FireBoard 2 Drive. Number one, it has 6 ports. So the ports are where you plug in the various probes. Port number 1 I always use for my ambient temperature. That tells me what the temperature is inside my Kamado Joe. Temperature probes 2 through 6 can be used for meat probes. If I'm cooking a pork shoulder, I'll use a probe in the pork shoulder, away from the bone of course, and that's plugged into port 2. If I have a second roast, I can simply add another probe. Granted, 6 probes is a bit much for me. I'm limited to the space that I have in my Kamado Joe, but I have the capability if I ever need it. The thing that I really like about this device is the user interface. There's a simple app that connects with the FireBoard. I have mine connected via Wi-Fi, but I understand it can be used with Bluetooth. I chose Wi-Fi because I've got a good signal and Bluetooth has some limits on its range. The app is very intuitive and very easy to use, and frankly has a lot more capability than I ever need. I usually cook one of 2 ways. Number one, I want to maintain a certain temperature for a certain period of time. Let's say I'm making baby back ribs and I'm doing a 3-2-1 method. I want to have them in here and smoke for 3 hours. I'll light my Kamado Joe, set it to indirect heat, and tell the FireBoard to maintain 250 degrees for 3 hours. I'll put my ribs in, come back 3 hours later, and go on to the next step. When I cook ribs, I'm only using a single probe, the ambient temperature inside. Couple of reasons. The meat on baby back ribs is a little thin to be putting a meat probe in, and if you get it next to a bone, it's going to mess up the readings, so why bother? If, however, I'm cooking a bigger piece of meat, let's say a Chateaubriand roast or a pork shoulder or even a brisket, then I will put a probe in the deepest part of the meat and plug that into port 2. Let's say I'm cooking a pork shoulder. I can tell the FireBoard to cook at 225 degrees until the internal temperature of the roast that I'm cooking hits 165. I know that's going to be about 5 hours plus or minus. At that point, I want to do something. Typically, I'll come out, I'll wrap the roast up, I'll put it back in and tell the FireBoard to cook for 250 degrees until it hits 195, and then set off an alarm and shut down. Those are the two methods that I typically use in cooking with my FireBoard. It has a lot of other features and there's a lot of things that you can do with this and create very complicated programs, but that's not how I cook. I like this device because it simply works. I have never had it fail. I can't say that about some of the other units that I've owned. The weak link in all of these systems is the probe. It's not due to a design defect or something wrong with manufacturing. It's usually a problem with user error. The probes are designed to handle temperatures up to about 500, 550 degrees. Beyond that, they burn up. So, number one, you would never use the FireBoard to cook over direct heat. If you have fire come up and hit that probe, it's shot. So I'm always cooking with indirect heat. However, I have still burned up my ambient temperature probe cooking indirectly. How did I do that? My dinner was done, my roast was done, the alarm went off, I opened the lid, I removed my roast, and I walked away. What happened? The air got into it, caused a flare-up, fire came up along the side of the indirect diffuser panels and burned up the probe. So, rule number one, always have extra probes on hand. There is nothing more frustrating than coming out and finding out that your probe doesn't work. So I highly recommend have a couple of extra ambient temperature probes and a couple of extra food probes. You'll thank me. In addition to being able to set target temperatures for the ambient and the meat probes, the app for the FireBoard allows you to set an alarm. So I can set an alarm for my meat probe to go off when my meat hits my target temperature. I can also set an alarm, let's say 10 degrees above and below what I want to be cooking at. So in case the fire goes out, it's going to set off an alarm and let me know that. The one thing that I don't like about the FireBoard is that there is no speaker in the device. So while it has a nice big screen and is easy to see, if I'm outside and I don't have my phone on me and the alarm goes off, I don't know it because the device does not have a speaker. That's the one thing I'd recommend they change in a future version. The FireBoard is a real serious tool. I rely on this, and it actually makes my cooking much more enjoyable. I don't worry about it. I simply set it up and it just works. I'm not out here fiddling with it, trying to dial in temperatures manually. That's particularly helpful if I'm cooking overnight, something like a brisket. I don't want to be out here in the middle of the night fiddling with my Kamado Joe. I want to set it up and walk away and get a good night's sleep. So if you're really serious about cooking in a Kamado Joe or a Big Green Egg, I really suggest you look into a temperature control device. The FireBoard is a great tool. I highly recommend it.
I've enclosed links to the FireBoard website in the comments below and on my website, www.austin-eats.com. Hey, if you liked the video, let me know, and thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I've got more videos coming out every week. See you next time on Austin Eats.